Happy Sunday, champions. How's everybody doing? If you don't have your video on, please turn on your video. I want to see your beautiful faces. I missed you guys since Milano, and it's gonna be a little while before I see you guys in the European tour. So let me see your faces. Hello, Pernilla. Hey, Melinda. Hi, Elvira. Hi, Hayes. Good to see you guys. All right, welcome. Happy Sunday. It's Sunday and it's almost the last day of September. We're getting ready to launch a new month, October. It was good to see everybody in Milano. Host has disabled video. Let me see, Sandy. You should be able to turn on your video. Try now. Okay. Yeah. Chongi, good to see you. Awesome. Cool. So, tonight's webinar, what did you guys think of the new presentation, by the way? For those of you guys that were watching the presentation beforehand, what did you think of the new presentation? I also, we included some videos into the presentation to make them a little bit more interactive. Sandy likes it, she gives me the thumbs up. That's the new presentation, the new slides. They've also been updated in the Dropbox. There's going to be a new video coming out in the next few days, by the way. Jesse, I'm so grateful for Jesse McPherson. Honestly, that guy works like crazy in the background to help with as many things as possible. And he's the one that put together the new slides, and I think they work really, really well. So stay tuned, because as this month begins, October, you're going to see a lot of new things popping up. Okay? We're testing a new payment system right now. Some of the leaders, if you're 25 squared and above and you were on the leadership call a few days ago, you probably received an invitation in order to be one of the first people in the world to test the new payment system. We started testing it. It's great. We can take Maestro. We can take a lot more cards than we were able to take before. It also enables you, if you choose to get paid your commissions in crypto, to pay your membership in crypto. You're going to see there's going to be a lot of emphasis, guys, on technology, on evolving. We want to set the standards as a company of a lot of new things happening. There's my good friend Yasid there, new daddy, holding his babies. I love this guy, honestly. He's the father of new twins, and he keeps sending me pictures. He's literally got the babies in his hands, but hasn't slowed down his activity. As a new dad, he's got one baby in one hand and using the clicker in the other hand. I want to share a couple of things, guys, before we get into the training today. I was with Chongi and Imola last night. And they were sharing about one of their team members, and I'm not going to mention the name. I want to protect the privacy of this person because this person's story is under construction. But they were sharing me the story of a team member that literally took a train, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was a train for 14 or 18 hours to come to Milan for the event. The guy hardly slept, had a bunch of delays getting back, and then caught another train for another 14 or 18 hours or something crazy to go back home to Hungary or Romania. I might have missed one of those two countries. And I was sitting there and I was listening to, as they were sharing that story last night, and I thought, you know what? These are the kind of stories that we need to be sharing with people when people say, oh, I want to come to Milan, but, I'm working the next day, or, the flight was 200 euros, or whatever. The stories of the sacrifices that people make to get to the event is the stories where you want to share with people about the ability of being able to choose between paying the price so you can have the prize, or making the prize the obstacle to you getting the prize. Does this make sense? Okay? You either pay the price and you enjoy the prize, the winning, the dream becoming a reality, or you make the prize the obstacle as to why you didn't get the prize. For example, this particular individual, Chongi wrote it, 14 hours to Budapest, flight from Budapest to Milan, from Malpensa to Milano, the train stopped, they had to get off and then home the same thing. So it's like literally 20 hours of traveling. I told him it's easier to go to Australia. So he could have sat there and went 14 hours on a train, that's so long, and then a flight. He could have made that price become the obstacle and go, I can't come to training. Right? But instead, for him, it wasn't an option, so he made the event happen. And that's why these events are so key, because you're gonna I'm very much looking forward to seeing who this person develops into, because he's also got another crazy story that one day I'm sure that he'll get to share, of the kind of things that he went to. But no matter what, every single event, this individual is at the trainings. And let's say you're talking to one of your team members. We have the tour that is going to be happening in beginning of November, right? You guys know about the tours. Let me just, I'm going to put everything up on my screen here. Okay, so we got 3 countries. Uno momento, come over here. Right. So 3 countries: Cyprus, Italy, Romania. Cyprus, the 2nd of November. Milano, Italy, November 9th, which is a Saturday. Cluj, Romania on the 10th of November. I know some people are like, but what about my country? I don't see my country on this tour. I'm not, that just because your country is not on the tour doesn't mean you can't join one of the tours, guys. I mean, to go from Sweden to Milan, I looked at the flights, is like 150 euros return. Okay? Switzerland, you can drive down to Milan. Hungary, you can drive for 5 hours and go to Cluj, right? The reason we're doing this tour is because I shared a goal. I did a leadership call a little while ago, and I said to some of the team, some of the leaders, that I've set a goal that I would love for us to make that a team goal. And this is your chance to whether you participate of this team goal and this team vision, and knowing that sometimes when you play a part in a small vision, it becomes a bigger part of a bigger vision. I said, I'm tired of seeing our events only a couple of hundred people. I'm ready to start to fill up stadiums again. Some of you guys have been around with us for a few years, and you've seen it with your own eyes of what it's like to fill up stadiums with an event. We were literally having some drinks with Chongi and Imola last night, and one of their friends that was there, we started talking about a company that we were previously a part of, and that became a huge movement. And this company became such a huge movement, and you guys probably know this, the little blue sign. I used to literally tell people, if you want to tell how big this movement is, I used to tell people, go and put hashtag YSBH, which stands for You Should Be Here, and you would have seen millions of pictures of people around the world holding a sign that used to say you should be here. That wasn't just part of the travel company, it was a movement. And a lot of the people were not there at the beginning when the sign didn't exist and our events had started with a couple of hundred people. A lot of the people were not there, but I was there when the events were like, you know, same size, a little bit bigger, and then just something clicked and it started going boom, 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 boom. And the thing that plays a very big role in that is when a handful of leaders commit to a greater vision. It doesn't take a lot of people. It takes a handful of people to commit to a bigger vision. And I said to myself that in order for us to start really making an impact, 2025, I want 2025 to be the year where we break more than 1,000 people at a European event. But it's very difficult to go from this to this. Okay, you gotta take another leap. So I said for Dubai, I always write 2 goals, and I want you guys to do the same, by the way. One thing my mentor always said to me, he goes, always have 2 goals. Your optimistic goal, which is the one that you're shooting for. What is your best case scenario? What is one goal that if you could achieve by Dubai, it almost sounds unbelievable? Okay? Now, I'm not saying make it so unbelievable that maybe you're not 10-10 and you want to be Crown Royale. I'm talking about it's a leap. It's a leap that is big enough to make you feel uncomfortable. So this last event we had about 120 people. I wrote down that for the next event, 450 people. Minimum 4x the number, the event. That's what I wrote down. 450 people. Now, I got off the call with some of the leaders from Hungary, /Cyprus, /Romania, and they committed to 200 of these. There's a minimum 200 from our side. Okay? So, optimistic goal, 450. Worst case scenario goal, 300. Why? Because if we want to get to 1,000 people at an event, we need to focus on how do we triple the numbers, quadruple the numbers, then we 10x the numbers. Are you guys with me? Okay? So ask yourself, and you can type it on the chat, do you want to be part of this greater vision? Do you want to play a part in, let's say for example, maybe right now in your team, you only had 5 people at the last event. How many people do you want to bring over to Dubai? I'm going to take this off for a second. Well, that's a great question, Sandy. Okay, so maybe that's a good step. So how many people are you committed to bring to Dubai from Zimbabwe? Because I'll tell you what, one of the reasons we're doing the event in Dubai is because we wanted to make it easier to have Africa plug in to this event. So when I wrote 300 to 450 at this event, I'm not even including Africa. So how many is Africa gonna have? Because I can't speak for Africa. You guys are the leaders of Africa. And I know this week when I come to South Africa, this is a conversation we need to sit down and have as leaders together. Right? Okay? So, while I have everybody else here, I would love to hear from Sweden, from Switzerland, from Colombia, from Greece. I want to hear from you guys. How many people do you want to bring to Dubai with you? How many people are you willing to commit? Because there's a difference between wanting to do something, because wanting is almost like a wish, to committing to doing something. Committing is I'm willing to put my name on this, I'm willing to make it a commitment, and I'm willing to be accountable to it. So, if some of you guys are too shy to put it publicly, feel free to privately message me, okay? But I want you guys to ask yourself that question. Imola's like 80. I love it. I can see that about you guys. Imola Chongi, honestly, the one thing I'll say about this, guys, is that literally, I don't remember which event was it maybe 3 events ago, guys, where they just made a decision that they're like, okay, enough is enough. Every single event, I'm going to have more people at each event than what I did at the last one. Okay? And ever since they made that decision, every single event, they leave and they've already got more people booked for the next event at that event. So they left the last event in Romania and they had already booked more people for Milano. Now for Milano, they've already got more people booked for Dubai. So I love it. Okay, so Ferry, 20 people, 50 people from Africa. Amazing. Awesome. Nice. Awesome. Awesome, Pernilla. Janet, great, 20 people. Brilliant. Who else? And I know this is something that's going to change as well, guys, as time gets closer. But one of the reasons that we're doing this tour is because between now and Dubai, we still got quite some time. And it's easier to, it's easier to people to make smaller decisions than the big decisions. So I always like to get people to every single webinar that I do, every single call that I have with people that I'm mentoring and coaching, is I always like to get a little bit more commitment before the next call, right? And this is a tip to bear in mind as you're building your team. Always have this in your mind. Every single conversation you have with your team, there should be some type of goal that you have in mind. Whether the goal is to help to push them into activity, whether it's to get them to make some additional commitment, whether it's to get them to an event, whether it's to get them on a trip, because that also counts as well. It's keeping them around the campfire, right? I remember there was a guy in my team many years ago that, was literally for the first couple of years didn't have a lot of success, but he never missed an event. He would always come to an event. Every event he would come, he would bring one or two people, but he was growing, but his binary hadn't caught up yet. And it was one event that he literally came and he decided to make a decision. And at that next event, he called up a friend of his, and that friend of his, for the first time, even though he'd been inviting him for like 20 times, and the guy kept ignoring him, that time when he called him, because there was a new level of enthusiasm in his voice, the guy came to the presentation, signed up, and built a team of 245 days. And when I asked this guy what happened, the guy invited you 20 times. Why did you come when the other 19 times you didn't show up? He said, I heard an energy about him that I never heard before. It was something at the event that clicked. And this is one of the stories that I keep playing over in my mind, that sometimes when I'm pushing to get the new people at each of the events, but I'm also doing what we call circling the wagons. Circling the wagons is calling every single member of your team at least once a month for a different reason. You know, like, let's say, for example, Yesid is in my team, right? And I haven't spoken to Yesid in a little while. And maybe Yesid hasn't come to the events. Now, obviously, Yesid comes to all events, but I'm just using him as an example. And he hasn't been to an event for a while, and I haven't heard from him in a while, and he hasn't plugged into the webinars. I'm going to call Yesid straight after Milan, and I'm going to share with him just 1 or 2 magical things that happened in Milan. I don't want to give him a summary version of the event because he'll feel like, I don't need to go. If Francine will give me the summary version. But I want to share something exciting with him because I want to take some of the energy and pour it back into his heart. I'll be like, hey, Yesid, we've missed you. You know, I haven't seen you in a while. You know what's cool, Yesid? We're going to be in Milan in a few weeks. I'd love for you to come and meet me in Milan. There's so many great things happening. And I'll tell him a couple of things and I'll go, hey, do you want to come and meet me in Milan? Right? My goal is to literally pour love on him, bring him around the campfire. Now, let's say Yesid goes, no, I'm too busy. There's something else going on, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to give up on him. A few weeks later, I may give him a call and I'll be like, hey, Yesid, you know what's really cool? Remember how we always talked about going to Dubai together? Guess what? We're planning a trip to Dubai in March. And there's a very cool escape in March. And we're going to go on desert safari. We're going to go see the Burj Khalifa. We're going to go on, we're going to do so many cool things. I'd love to go to Dubai together. What do you say, my friend? Should I come over? We get together and we'll book Dubai together? Now, what am I doing? Even if Yesid says no, right? And sorry to pick on Yesid, like it could be anybody, but even if he says no, every single time I'm calling him, what he's building up in his mind is that the company's changing, it's evolving, it's growing, there's something fresh all the time. Okay? Write this down. Out of sight, out of mind. If people don't have something reminding them and it's out of sight, it's not going to be occupying their mind. But if every single so often, every few weeks, I'm calling my team, I'm not talking about the ones that are engaged taking action. I'm talking about the ones that, you know, they're in your binary, but they're just there. And I'm pouring love on them. And I'm always doing one of several things. Promoting a trip, promoting a promotion, sharing a story. Like, oh my God, did you hear about the last person? Annabella, she just walked the stage. You know Annabella, the lady with a beautiful heart. She had her parents sitting in the front row watching her. I can't believe how proud they must have been to watch this lady who's invested so much time and energy and love walk the stage. Was 50 squared. It was amazing. What am I doing? I'm sharing a story right now. Every single time I'm doing one of those things, I'm also, what I'm doing is I'm pouring belief into the team. Essentially, I'm telling them, hey, they're doing it, you can do it too. Guys, you know, I keep saying this to a lot of people is that, you know, they always ask me, how do you create momentum? And I go, momentum is always created as a reflection of belief. If the people believe in the company, if they believe in themselves, if they believe in the industry, they will take action. If they're not taking action, it's never a lack of motivation. It's a lack of belief or a lack of clarity in their vision. That's what we're going to do as leaders. We're going to sit there and help to keep the vision alive in their mind. And we're going to keep pouring belief into our team, going, you can do this. We can do this together. Hey, why don't we spend the next few minutes making some calls together? Literally, if you take, a lot of people say, hey, look, call me if you need me. And if you tell your team, call me if you need me, guess how many of them are going to call? Not many. Right? You're going to drive the activity. You're going to sit there and go, hey, Melinda, let's spend a few minutes right now. Why don't you pull out your phone, okay? And I want you to go through, Melinda, who are the last 10 people you dialed in your phone? And Melinda pulls it out and she goes, oh, well, the last person I called is Sarah. And I'm like, great. So who's Sarah? She goes, oh, it's my best friend. Has she seen the Viago presentation? No, she hasn't. Okay, you know what we're going to do right now, Melinda? We're going to call her together right now. I'm going to tell you exactly what to say. Right? So I'm literally, what am I doing? Is I'm taking my team member and I'm holding them by their hand and I'm guiding them every step of the way. I'm showing them the ropes. I'm not waiting for them to do it. I'm helping them to do it. This is how you can take maybe not much happening sometimes in your team and generate activity. Okay? Because I'll tell you what, when you're not there, most people that look at the phone and it weighs like a ton of bricks. And they pick up the phone and they're like, I'm excited. I just got back from Milan. I'm going to do something. They pick up the phone, they look at it, they come up with an excuse, they buy the excuse, they put the phone down, they say they'll get to it, but out of sight, out of mind. Right? But when you literally take them by the hand and go a little bit of activity, hey, you know what we're going to do, Melinda? The first thing that we're going to do, Melinda, is we're going to book the next training. So tell me, Melinda, which training is closest to you? Milan, Cluj, or Cyprus? Right? And let's say Melinda goes, well, Milan is only 2 hours flight, Cyprus is 4 hours flight. I'll go, great. Guess what? We're going to book Milan. You're going to go to Viago events right now. In Milan, you'll get to hear from moi. And you'll also get to hear from Ioanna Vasile. Ioanna Vasile is an amazing lady in our team in Europe. She's one of the people that always makes this business fun. She's an amazing at building culture within the team. And one of the things I can tell you is by coming into Milan and bringing a bunch of your team members, your team is going to walk away from Milan feeling energized, excited, and ready to take massive action. So question is, how many people do you want to bring with you? Are you guys with me? Okay. Now, how can you bring a team if you haven't booked the event? Like one thing I've always said to people is never leave the place of decision without making a decision. So as soon as an event is announced, never leave an event without booking the next event. That's something that you want to do as a leader, and that's something that you want to teach your team to do as a leader. So, 2 things that are always non-negotiable in this business. Never miss a training, and never go through a whole week without doing at least 5 presentations. That's it. Literally, this is the formula, guys. Never miss an event, and never go a week without doing at least 5 presentations. That's to have any consistent growth in your team. Right? 1 presentation a week is definitely not going to do it. But you know what? 1 presentation a week is better than no presentations on a weekly basis. Take your minimum and raise it 10%. Just raise it 10%. And go, next week I'm going to raise it another 10%. Okay? Some people try to take too many giant leaps. They overwhelm themselves and they don't leap at all. And as a result, they stay frozen and nothing happens. So, right now, you've wrote down what number of people you have committed to Dubai. Okay? What I recommend is when we finish this webinar tonight, I want you to literally have a piece of paper, and if let's say you wrote down I want to have 20 people, come to Dubai, I want you to put on a piece of paper 20 spots. 20 spots for 20 names. And every single time that you're doing a presentation, on that piece of paper, I want you to show them, hey, our team goal is to take 20 to Dubai. Now we have number 7. Are you going to be number 8? Are you coming with us to Dubai? Are you going to be the next leader? And when something is in front of you and you see it all the time, one thing that's going to happen is that your subconscious mind is always going to be working on solutions on how to get there. Out of sight, out of mind. Most people that come to an event, they say what they're going to do by the next event. They don't write anything down. They don't take any action towards it. And then because they wrote on a piece of paper that they never even look at, nothing happens. Take that piece of paper, put it on a wall that you can see it every day. Right? Have it somewhere that's visible, so every time you're speaking to someone, excuse me, it's able to be top of mind, so you keep having the same conversations. Guys, network marketing, it really is a simple business. I'm not going to tell you that it's easy, because the only reason that it's not easy is because we make it difficult by focusing too much in this. Like we spend so much time in our heads, right? Overthinking things. But it really is a simple business. It's a simple business of getting people in, getting them to the events, sharing the stories, and saying the same thing over and over and again to new people. The reason sometimes people lose the energy is because they say the same thing over and over again to the same people. When you say the same things over and over again to new people, it keeps it fresh in your mind. When you say it to the same people over and over again, you become stagnant. You become jaded, right? And when I say these things, I also talk to myself, because, all these things applies to me too. Right? I fall guilty into the trap sometimes of trying to motivate the same people, and I lose motivation. Right? You want to stay motivated all the time. You want to basically focus on the new energy. Keep doing what I just shared with you about circling the wagons, giving the love, but that should be 20% of your time. Only 20% of your time. Focusing on circling the wagons, living, giving some love to your team. The 80% of your time should always be focused on new people. When I say new people, I don't just mean new people to bring in. I'm talking about the new people you started in the last 30 days. They're excited, they're on fire, they're energized, they got, possibilities in their minds, okay? Because you want to work with those new people to help them to get results, and you want to work with new people to also help them to get in, so you can help them to get results. Bomba? Okay, so next weekend, I'm going to have somebody else leading the presentation and leading the training. Excuse me, as I'll be in Africa. So if you know somebody in South Africa, we're going to post a banner in the next 24 hours with what the schedule is going to be over the few days that I'm going to be in Africa. It's going to be the first pre-launch event of Viago in Africa. So if you got people in Johannesburg, if you got people in South Africa, I recommend reach out to them, invite them to come to this event. Let's help you to build a team in Africa as well, because guys, that's the cool thing about network marketing, is that it may cost you a few €100 to get started, but you're literally, the world is your playground, and you're not limited to where you can build this business. You can build it anywhere in the world. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Right? If you have any things that you believe would be beneficial, remember I said to you that these training sessions every week, they keep changing, and I want to hear from you guys. What are some of the things you want to get trained on? What are some of the topics? Once a month we'll be doing like a Q&A mentoring session as well, because I want to help you guys as grow as much as possible. You know, that's one of the things that I love about network marketing. But first things first, if you haven't already booked your ticket to the European tour, go to viagoevents.com. As soon as we finish tonight, get your ticket to the event closest to you, and also get your team to do the same thing. And we look forward to seeing you either in Johannesburg in a few days or on the next Zoom. Have a good week, guys, and let's end the month strong.